Hello, we are Diablos Media, and we are live from the Sempte Media Technology Summit in Pasadena. I'm Destiny Durant.
And I'm Juan Gomez. We have with us a speaker of the summit, Andy Maltz from General Intelligence, and his main focus is talking about the practices and implement and the standards and policies of it. First of all, Andy, thank you for being here with us. Can you explain us why is this so important?
Well, first of all, my pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. So why is this so important? Well, you've heard of this AI thing, right? And it's taking over the world, and Skynet will become aware, and we humans won't matter anymore, right? Well, that's not really the case. You know, humans invented this, humans control it, and this is something very big and very different than it's ever been. So we have to think about it a little bit differently. And a lot of the thinking actually has to do with public policy, you know, what's safe and ethical and trustworthy AI. That's in addition to the technical bits of how do you make LLMs or large language models or other AI applications work together. So it's all of those things together, which is much bigger and broader than any technology-driven disruption that we've ever had before.
Okay, cool. And you have over 40 years of experience implementing media into technology and also being the founding head staff of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science on the Science and Technology Council. I just wanted to ask, how has the transition to artificial intelligence been so far? Excuse me.
Well, it's been pretty random and exciting and disruptive and scary and full of possibility all at the same time. So I just want to make one point. This is not the first time that the motion picture and television industries have gone through a major technology-driven disruption. It's happened since the early days of film when sound was introduced, and then digital cinema, not necessarily in that order, and digital visual effects and digital sound. And every time the industry readapted, jobs changed. The big difference here is that artificial intelligence is kind of like everything, everywhere, all at once. It touches every aspect of production, of distribution, and all of these other areas outside of motion pictures and television. And that's what makes it so different, is that it affects everyday people, too.
Mr. Maltz, you just mentioned it affects people and affects jobs. Talking as a journalist, as a current journalist who has a job, is there any uncertainty in the future, for myself, an example, to the possibility of me losing maybe my job in a certain way against AI?
I don't know, to be frank. Would your job change? Potentially, yes. Seriously, could your job go away? Maybe. There are some jobs, and if you go all the way back to the horse and buggy, and then when cars came in, buggy drivers, you know, they became cab drivers. Okay, so their jobs changed, but the blacksmiths and the horseshoers, well, unless they knew how to put tires on a car, they were kind of out of luck. But there's a lesson in that too, is pay attention to what the changes are having. Pay attention to how the technology can help you do your job. And I don't mean replace what you do for your job, but help you do your job. And then you'll be in a better shape to adapt as you may need to. But do I think sitting across from another human being, I will not accept an interview where I'm sitting and talking to a computer. I won't do that. But I will talk with you two anytime.
Okay. So in other words, it'll change, but it may be for the good.
Ultimately, I think we're in a period of huge experimentation. I think we're in a period of figuring it out. And, you know, there are some philosophies like run fast and break things. I think some things are being broken. There are other parts of the world that are going a little slower. There are some industries where they're highly regulated and they can't move so fast. But broadcast, motion pictures, really not so much. But because labor has been so vocal about not losing their jobs, I think that's been a little bit of a check on how fast to move. Plus some of the copyright and trademark issues have acted as a bit of a check. And just, you know, slow it down a little bit and let's make sensible choices about how to use the technology for ultimately a better product.
And you mentioned slowing down a bit, but at the end of the day, like you said, this is people who are on a daily basis working with AI, trying to kind of understand it in a better way. but there's still a line where you have to know which is like the ethical or the proper way of using it, and still the maybe like not the ideal way of using it, because it can change or it can be unfair to some people, right? In comparison to people who don't use AI, right?
Yeah, so that line is kind of wiggly right now. It's moving around. It's being drawn even as we talk. And I have done a startup before. I used to call my job at the Academy as penance for all the technology-driven change that I helped foist on the industry, and then we had to deal with those changes, right? So it depends on which side of the equation you're on. If you're an entrepreneur and you're excited about a new product or a new idea or a new service, you're going to work as hard as you can to make that a reality, and you're not always doing that from a I don't want to say ethical, from a worrying about other people's jobs point of view, right? So there are more greenish types of jobs where and orientations for that. So it depends on your orientation at the end of the day.
Okay. So I just want to get into, I know you had your conference. So during your conference, what was one of the key topics that you did want attendees to take away? Or what mistake do you see a lot of people make when using AI in technology?
Let's work backwards. So the mistake is trusting it too much. And we've all heard of examples, right, of people thinking that AI can do the heavy lifting for them, and then they get caught, and then they get in trouble. All right, so you have to be sensible about how you use it. One of the big themes of today, in fact, the whole point of today's AI Global AI Standards Forum was to engage our attendees in a conversation about what the Society of Motion Picture and Television Engineers should be doing with respect to AI, with respect to education, standards, interoperability, anything else that the industry feels it needs that a 109-year-old organization like SMPTE can do. And we got some very good feedback today.
And if you can give us kind of like an advice, or kind of like what's the most common mistake in the last couple of years you've seen of people using AI?
Oh, boy, that I can talk about and be broadcast around the world. Well, like I said earlier, putting something into a chatbot and taking that as fact, truth, the gospel, right, and not checking the sources. It can be very helpful as an ideation tool. It'll come up with things that you might never have come up with. Give you an example. I sometimes like to open a presentation by telling a joke. And I asked one of the chatbots to give me 10 ideas for a joke. They were horrible. They were so unfunny. So my son has done stand-up comedy and improv, and we talked about what a good joke for this forum might be, and I came up with something after 2 days, and I put it back into the chatbot and said, is this a good joke? Is it funny? And, of course, I got, that's a great joke. But the breakdown was very smart. It knew what the notes were. It knew what was funny about it, and that was very helpful to me to feel like I had a good chance at making my audience laugh. And you know what? They laughed.
Mr. Maltz, we appreciate your time here, and it was a great insight. Thank you again for being here.
Yes, we appreciate your time. I had the opportunity to actually catch up with some guests outside and really get their opinion on artificial intelligence and what they had to say and if they had any concerns. Thank you so much. We are Diablos Media. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm your host, Destiny Durant, with Diablos Media at California State University, Los Angeles. We are here at the Sempte Media Technology Summit, and I am with
Gwendolina Kobianchi.
Gwendolina. Now, Gwendolina just presented, so I just want to ask, what do you think in AI and technology, what positivity will come from that?
There are a lot of very positive elements on AI. I am personally a big fan of it because it opens up enormous possibilities in all the fields.
My name is Tom Baird. I am here at the SMPTE conference in Pasadena, and my feelings about AI and its potential and its pitfalls are pretty clear. I think AI overall is something that's going to be with us forever, so we're going to have to adjust to it. and it's going to be a good thing, and it's going to help us move forward. We're going to get to a point where we're going to be dependent upon it to the level like we are dependent on our cell phones currently.
My name is Karthik. What I strongly feel is AI is a big paradigm shift in our generation. It will be part of our life, day-to-day routine.
I am here with Alan. I just wanted to kind of ask how you feel about technology and ethics and standards today.
I think from an ethical standpoint, if we are mindful of what content is being referenced, what the AI is referencing, and we give royalties to the content creators that made that content, I think that would be a good way to approach AI.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining in. I'm your host, Destiny Durant with Diablos Media here at the Technology Summit. All right, everybody, we are back. Once again, we are Diablos Media, and we are here at the Sempte Media Technology Summit in Pasadena. I'm Destiny Durant.
And I'm Juan Gomez. Thank you for still being here with us. And now we have another special guest. We had Jeanette DePatie. Sorry if I butchered your last name. First of all, I'm going to give a brief introduction of yourself, professional tech explainer, if I'm not incorrect, and an AI expert. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself?
Sure. So I have been in the media and technology space for about 30 years. And I've been in this space since there were very few women in this space. And I'm also co-founder of ActLocal, which is an organization that brings together cinemas and film festivals and causes to inspire people that have seen a great movie about, say, clean water, to go in the lobby and sign up for a beach cleanup in their neighborhood.
That is great. So with having over 30 years experience working in media and technology and being the co-founder of ActLocal, how has the transition, would you say, been into artificial intelligence so far?
So the transition has been extremely rapid. I'm sure a lot of people have talked about that today. And I've seen a number of transitions over the years. And so the transition to the web was a little bit slower. The transition to social media was very fast. And I think because it was so fast, we kind of messed a few things up along the way. And AI is happening even faster, but I think there are some opportunities, especially for young people, to help put a governor on that and make sure that AI is going out the right way for the right people.
Can you talk about a little bit more about your own experience as founder of ActLocal? Sorry, tell us a little bit. How have you implemented artificial intelligence, if so?
So I use artificial intelligence as an assistant. A lot of times I work as a writer, and so it's a great ideation tool. You know, in the old days, you sat in front of your typewriter and typed watermelon until something came to you. And now you have a better set of prompts to help you do that. That said, using AI, you have to be very careful. It lies, it hallucinates. I think that's something that you've heard about today. And it's also a tool that can make things that are not true seem true with video and audio and a lot of different tools. So I also use AI. We work with, at ActLocal, we work with the United Nations 17 Development Goals and Sustainable Development Goals. And so we help filmmakers determine which of those 17 goals their film might connect with. So that's a tool that we've developed.
Okay, and just to piggyback a little bit off of what you said, so I know with AI, there's things that are scary, like we have AI actresses and AI singers now, and a lot of people, when they think about AI, they have like kind of a negative thought towards it. What positivity do you see coming out of the growth of AI?
So the thing to understand about AI is it's a tool, right? It's morally neutral. It's people that decide whether it's going to be used for good or for not so good. There are many wonderful things that AI can help us do. It can help us find answers more quickly. It can help us with security. It can help us buy things, and it can help us learn things. It's especially helpful for people who need a little extra help, like seniors or people with disabilities. There are amazing tools coming out in that space.
Talking about a little bit more about people who are not as experts, or maybe, let's give an example, maybe me starting up, I'm not from this planet, I came to Earth, and now I know about this new technology. What's the first advice you would say to somebody who wants to involve more artificial intelligence in their own personal life or even in their workspace?
I think my first advice is make sure that you're running technology, not the other way around. The other advice I would give you is get in and get your feet wet, right? This is a technology where you don't have to be a master programmer. Anybody can use it, and now is the time to get in there and get your hands dirty, organize your grandma's recipes, figure out, what sock rotation you're gonna. It doesn't matter so much what the application is. Just get your hands dirty and try stuff out. But never, never, ever take it at face value. You always have to check and verify.
I always say double check. But you can also use it to make a grocery list. So I think that's pretty cool, too.
You know what? I use it to figure out what to do with the leftovers in my fridge, right? I'm like, okay, I've got eggs, I've got whatever, and it'll suggest a recipe. That's a great tool.
I agree, because I've used that. So what is one main thing that you'd like to address, or what is something that you think is a most common mistake that people do make when they're using AI in media?
I think it's important to use AI as a tool and not a crutch. AI can be a way to allow you to be very lazy and do lazy reporting and lazy thinking. If you're in the industry and you want to figure out, how am I going to make it, you need to make sure that you are smarter than AI in some way, or more creative or more innovative, so that you use AI as a tool. You're not replaced by AI, which can happen in some cases, not in all cases, obviously. But like I said, it's a tool. It can be good or it can be bad. But the focus of ActLocal is how can we use creativity and talent and technology and all of these things to leave a better world than the one we have right now. And that is a place where young people have buying power. Young people have a lot of pull in this media space. They can choose whether we're going to have a better world or a not so great world. It's up to them.
And you mentioned this new wave of the future generations and talking about how they can implement AI. But sometimes giving samples of maybe you have a bright idea for a script, for a movie script, for a journalist story, but then you ask AI some advice in order to kind of figure out a better idea of your story. But what's the line between this was your idea or it turned out to be more of AI idea? What's the line we can kind of figure out?
Yeah, so it's not so much a line as understanding that AI is like a mashup of everything that's already been done. So if you take something that AI gives you and you just use it, it's already been done lots of times by lots of people. So it's almost more useful to say, hey AI, what's been done, and then pick something different. That's a better way, I think, to understand how to make something revolutionary using AI as a tool.
Okay. I think that's great. I was going to ask you to touch a little bit more on ActLocal. Did you want to kind of explain a little more exactly? I know you said you work with cinema and festivals. Did you want to go in a little more into that?
Well, one thing I'm going to say is that ActLocal has worked together with Sempte in their student outreach projects. For example, recently we went to another festival, another event, and we funded tickets for Sempte students to come to that event. And that's the kind of work we do. We give students hands-on experience to volunteer, to try things, and to work together to make things better. So that's our approach.
Jeanette, we really appreciate your time and all your intakes. It was really great to having you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you once again, Jeanette. Right, everybody, that's it for us today. We're going to go ahead and toss it over to Ross. Ross, what you got going on over there?